Today's a good day to talk about where not to, cross the road, where not to live in Paris without getting run over, of course. So this is Porte de la Chapelle, all right. And so there was a bit of regeneration going on, and the reason why a lot of people say, oh, don't move here if you want, if you need to, especially for a lot of if you're single woman, don't move here because it is not a great place to live. And you're thinking, you've got the bus, you've got the metro, and you've got the tram. What else do you want? It's a popular area. And part of the reason, it's a bit slightly complicated, but these are some of the reasons why people say don't move here. These, you can see there's an apartment at the top. I don't know how visible that is, but at the top it's burnt, so there must have been a fire there. But anyway, the whole point was that about 10 years ago or 15 years ago, there was a huge camp of migrants here in the area, and most of them just started living on the streets, you know, around here, and it was just like tents and tents and tents, and people were like, wow, what's going on? You can't have that. And it just it got out of hand. You see, these high-rise buildings just basically housed a lot of people from all over the place. And because of that and other issues around the area, it just became an area where people have said, oh, it's a no-go area. But now, if you look at it, there's a bit of security now, where they're saying, okay, if you don't live in the building, you shouldn't really have access to it. But once upon a time, that wasn't the case. But anyway, one of the reasons why this place is actually popular is that it is affordable. It is closer to Porte de Clignancourt, where you have the market and knock-off goods from all over the place. And so, anyway, back to the story of all the migrants. The tent city started just as an informal place, and the reason why a lot of immigrants or migrants, and most of them were on their way apparently to the UK, so they're making a stop here. All right, so because of that, you see people dumping their microwave and old chairs here, and probably it's the zone for that, and then it gets picked up later. But anyway, you get the point. It was just a place where a lot of communities come together, and it was just sort of okay until, of course, all the immigrants and the tents started to pop up. And of course, like everything else, you get one tent, people say, well, he's on this. 2 tents, well, not too bad. Before you know it, it was just myriads, I would say, did I just say myriads? Just loads and loads and loads of tents. And so what's been happening anyway, as you can see here, let's just take a view. So you've got, I don't know what this is, but like in most places, so you still see all the high-rise buildings, and a lot of these are sublets, but the point is that the whole, let's see. So this is the plan, Chapelle, which is the whole idea that they're knocking down all the high-rise buildings and just regenerating it, and they want to build more affordable housing. So, and most of these will be like HLMs, they're called, like council houses. And the whole idea is just to make it look better. There is already a park, or they're trying to build one. So, and plant more trees. So there is a lot of things happening, but it's just like a lot of people just can't understand why it's taking them so long. But anyway, so the tent city became a major issue. And then, because most of these migrants were on their way to, I don't know where they were going, but most of them were probably going up north to, well, I mean, you know, Northern Europe. And then others were going to the UK, but they make a stop here. And the reason why you make a stop here is that it's just it's a more popular area. You could easily blend in, and if people see one or two tents, it doesn't bother them, until it became a news issue. It was so bad that they said it was a no-go area for women, especially in the evening. It was not a great time. But finally, what happened was that a lot of the, I don't know if there's a road here, but anyway, they're redoing the park, and it's looking good, I have to say. So you've got that going for it. So the French government, the local government, because this is in the suburbs of Paris, you're, I don't know, in Saint Denis somewhere. You've even got security cameras now in the park. You just never know. So they're doing a good job here, I have to say, of just making this a bit safer with playgrounds for children and young people. And of course, if you have all that, you still need to take care of the social issues facing the area. So all the tent area has been removed now. All the migrants living rough on the street, they've been kicked out of the of the place, and they've moved on. Lord knows where they moved to. But then when you go to where's the area called? If you go to Gare du Nord, just under the bridge, from like 5-10 minutes away from the exit of the Gare du Nord, the train station, you get there, and there is another tent city starting to pile up. You've got tens and tens, well, tens of people sleeping in tents. And someone, I think, also filmed once where during the summer months, there were a lot of people also in the sleeping under the bridge, and they're like, oh, this cannot be happening in a developed country. It is true, it shouldn't happen, but geopolitical, social issues are a bit more complicated than most of us would like to admit to. There's just not one single issue. The amount of high-rise buildings, how high is this? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I count 31 floors. It's massive. And then another one here. And of course, the one that has been demolished. So it goes to show you that it was a good idea at the time. Let's stack, instead of building, let's build upward instead of building sideways. And, you know, we can stack a lot of people there. And it was a great idea a few years back. Now, decades back, and now it's like, what a sight for sore eyes. Anyway. So now it's becoming a problem now that if you go online and you type in, I've seen a place, a nice apartment, a nice flat that I would like to rent. And the first thing people would ask you is, where is it? If you say Porte de la Chapelle, they say, don't do it. But it's got trains, it's got trams, and it's got everything I want. Don't do it. That is basically the consensus you will get. And the reason is that I think partly it's improved over the years. It's really improved, and they're trying to make the high street a bit better. But you still see here someone kicked down the door of the store. Lord knows what happens there. It doesn't look abandoned. And they're trying to, this is the entrance to the train station called Porte de la Chapelle. And you have a statue of women, Simone de Beauvoir, and then you have Gisèle Halimi. So basically, if you're wondering why this is important, so these are intellectuals. I think she's a bit more famous, Simone de Beauvoir. She died not too long ago, well, in the 80s. She was not young when she died. She was a philosopher. And then you have, of course, the Porte de la Chapelle, which is the train station. But my point is that this area, let me just stop there and hold the thought about the area. Why you have female statues all over lining this area is because over the years in Paris and all the other places, something you've noticed is that a lot of the statues are often of men. Women just, oh, someone's getting his car clamped. That's not good. For illegal parking. That's a cute, anyway, it's not a cute thing, but you know, don't park where you're not supposed to. And then who is this? Paulette Nardal. What did she do? She must have done something great, otherwise she wouldn't be here. Journalist and a writer, intellectual. See? I don't know if what they're trying to do is make a statement here because of the way women are treated in this area, where all the main statues that they have here are of women, intellectual women. But then when you go to other parts of the old Paris neighborhood, you rarely see women statue. Another one. What did she do? She's an explorer, botanist. See, another one. So, one of the things you see is that Porte de la Chapelle is just become one of those areas that was very popular and then became infamous. And people say, don't move here. And the reputation is still intact, that it's not one of the best areas in Paris. The funny thing is, during the day, it looks fine. Just like one of those normal, regular areas in Paris. Neighborhoods in Paris, but there are telltale signs that all is not always well. Look at this sofa and baignoire and more sofa, and it's just like the streets are not particularly clean or dirty. They're just you know, regular Parisian streets. I've always just wondered why when people say we're going to regenerate here with the thousands and thousands of people in Saint-Denis area and just north of Paris and this suburb or this area called La Chapelle, you see that within the whole tower and everything, there are nice apartments like these ones here. These are smaller, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just 7 stories, really compact buildings, and gated. Sometimes they'll have a concierge, you know, who takes care of security and cleaning the area, and basically just making general maintenance of the area. But with the amount of people, what would you do if you were to regenerate this and make the area less high density and just clean it up? You demolish all the tower blocks and then build smaller apartments. What do? You run out into the problems that the tower blocks were supposed to fix, which is make housing more affordable, social housing. I don't think anyone has actually been able to really solve the problem of housing. I know part of it is also by design, where if you make like what they did in the after the war, if you build too many affordable housing, which is, it can be done, and you don't allow speculation, you of course are able to keep prices in check, and housing would no longer become an investment where you let it sit and rot, so that you create scarcity, and after that you're able to just milk the situation. But in this case, I don't think you can go back to that time of just building massive affordable housing. And one of the other things I think that created this problem is that you cannot really just build housing, affordable housing, without dealing with the other social issues surrounding jobs, upward mobility, and other things. So I think this is, I'm just walking around here and I'm just discovering this other part of Porte de la Chapelle, and it just seems, it seems a bit much fancier around here. There's this little park here, and there's a public pool. I don't know if it's public, but there's a pool, and this area just looks nice. It just feels like one of those ordinary Parisian areas. And I think this is one of those things where people say, I like it, it's not too bad. Others are saying, don't do it. But I think it would also depend on where you are. And they say, if you're a single woman, don't do it. But I think most of it is about transportation. Because I would take it at night, if you're going through some of the areas in the center, it can feel a bit dodgy, especially when if you're coming back from work and it's really late. It's not going to feel that great. So I can understand that. You've even got public bikes, Velib it's called. I can understand the appeal as well, you know. You've got most of what you would need in the area. There's a pool, there's a park, there are little corner stores, and just, it feels normal. So, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, this is the hood. You've got like laverie, you know, public laundry. And here other much better looking apartments, 6 stories high with huge plants. So I think this is my take from just this perspective, which is of course a limited perspective, is that this is dirty, but you know, maybe they'll come and clean up later. So most of the area, it feels normal. It doesn't feel like a ghetto to me. I think one of the, just across where the metro station is, where you have the high-rise buildings and all the issues that actually happened years previous, created the reputation. And of course, after years of having a reputation of a no-go area, and it's been cleaned up and they've demolished a few of the buildings, it's getting better, but still, there's a long way to go. This feels like some parts of the Elephant and Castle in South London during the 80s and 90s, especially in the early 90s, where you know, a lot of Latino communities came through. You got Peckham, and when you're in some parts of Elephant Castle, you walk towards Kennington Oval. Some of the areas are nice, but other areas, other streets are just really not a great place. And now, all the old buildings have been, you know, destroyed and cleaned up, and it's much better. Roadworks here, and it's much better. And I think they're probably doing the same thing here. So where all the old buildings have been removed, people have been moved along, and it's getting better. But I think it is going to get much better. But the only difference I can see now is that the reputation is still there, and there are still a lot of pockets of delinquents and crime and gang-related violence happening. So, with all that, it is still going to be, don't do it. So, local restaurants. Yeah. What I'm beginning to notice is that it smells nice here, like spicy food. So what I'm beginning to notice anyway is that a lot of the people here are just depending on, it just depends on the streets. Some streets just feel normal, some feel clean, others feel a bit dodgy. And you're like, if I were you, I wouldn't want to be here at night. If a place looks dodgy during the day, can you just imagine at night what it's going to be like? Okay, demolition going to happen here according to the sign on that street. Yeah, it feels that's a very strange looking bus. Yeah, I don't think it's as bad. I don't think it's as bad as people have made it to be, but I think part of the center will be a bit dodgy at night, and so if you're a single person, especially a single woman, it is one of those things that people say, don't do it, don't come here. But the appeal, I think, for me is that it has stores, it has restaurants with affordable food and affordable housing, transportation. So when you combine all that, I understand the appeal. It's a no-brainer that you want to come here. And also because of all the cultures around here, you would always, especially if you're a migrant yourself, it would always feel a bit like home, I suppose. You blend it better. What I've noticed is that it just it feels like a regular suburb of Paris. So anytime you go to any major city and you see a lot of these, let me just cross the road, I'll show you, a lot of these laundries, it tells you something about the area. It's even written in English. It tells you something about the area. Either the area has a lot of small apartments, small stores, small flats, and most of the people are just renting a room and they don't have any washing machine and things like that. So, or like the duvet and all those things where your own machines, you'll be unable to wash them at home, so you need some of these. Or that's an interesting street. Police presence here, but not overwhelming. I wonder how much it costs to buy a house here. I need to check this out. Let me go and check on the outside. How much does it cost to buy a house? Okay, this is a two bedroom, 500,000. That's good. Another apartment here, 600,000. I don't know. This one is 133. It's cheaper, but it doesn't have proper insulation. All right, so it's not, it's not as, so basically Porte de la Chapelle is not the cheapest when it comes, I would also understand that because of the proximity to the center, where you've got the metro and the train station, so you can get to the center of Paris rather quickly. So for jobs and things like that, it's just perfect. $500,000 is not cheap. So this is the main street of Porte de la Chapelle. Interesting place. So people say, don't come here. And I would say, when I mean don't come here, they say this is not one of the best places to live if you're especially single. But I think it's probably true, but it depends on where you are in the Porte de la Chapelle as well. I think depending on the area where you decide to lay down, it would really impact. There's someone sleeping rough in front of the store, that's a boulangerie, and someone's just in front there. I'm surprised they let him, because normally they would have said, okay, move it on. We've got customers to serve. We don't want you disturbing them. McDonald's is here on the high street, so is that a good sign or a bad one? It does look a bit rough on the edges, but I wouldn't say it's dangerous. I don't know if you understand the difference. It looks like a lot of, in the past 30 seconds, I've seen 3 people on the streets begging, and one sleeping in front of the store, in the front of the baker, boulangerie, I don't know, baker thing. The buildings on the high street are well kept. They're pretty. They've got most of the ones have got a classic design. And then you've got the church, Basilique Saint-Jean d'Arc. Okay. Ooh, that's a basilica. So people here can still be saved. That's what. Well, anyway, never mind. Let's not go there. Keep it moving. Normal. All right, another set of homes here, and the same thing. 600,000, 400,000, 200,000. Oh, this is expensive. 750,000. See that? And this is 4-piece. And they're not even in the best area. No, they're not even the best insulated. I can't remember the word, but anyway. So if you're buying a house in France, the law basically requires you to say how much energy efficient the house is. So you've got Gucci here representing, and even the more expensive ones, another building there, are not often well energy efficient. So basically it can be cheaper, but you end up spending another laundry. So if the house is even cheaper, you end up spending a lot of money during the winter months to cover heating bill. So and that is, I'm talking from October to March. So you have roughly 6 months of spending, and if the house is big and it's not energy efficient, you'll be spending a lot of money, even in an area that hasn't got the best reputation. But I think what's happening is this, that the inside, very close to the train station, has a bad reputation. But then if you walk a few blocks in any direction from that point, it seems just normal, it seems fine. They're just normal areas, normal Parisian streets. Autumn leaves falling. That's an interesting I'm just beginning to think this place is just, it depends on where you are, really. And this confirms what people actually say in it's very calm as well, so it's not noisy, you know, like when you go to some parts of the city and it's just like intense people, vendors. Here it just feels, you can hear the sound of the cars and people going by, but it isn't overwhelming. I think one of the things to do is, someone said, if you want to know how bad this place is, you need to come during the evening. So during the day, if it's nice, that's good, but that doesn't give you a good overview of what it's really like. And the reason why people say don't do it, don't come and live here. But if you come at night, across the road, apparently if you come at night, you really get a feel for it. If you feel safe at night, good. If the atmosphere changes at night, well, then it's not for you. So this is my take after just walking around the Porte de la Chapelle. I think it's not as bad as people say it is. I think there are some sketchy areas, but I also think that the fact that the local government is doing a lot now to regenerate the area, renovate it, destroy some of the old buildings, and just make it a bit better, it is a good thing. And this is Christine de Pizarre, another woman. Who is she? Femme de lettres, okay, someone, another intellectual. And I think the amazing thing about some of these statues that hanging around the Porte de la Chapelle is the fact that most of the intellectual women that are represented came of age at a time where they had to struggle to do little things that more women would do today. And I think they deserve all the credit. Unfortunately, a little late for most of them, or all of them. They're all dead. So there's another one, Louise Michel. What did she do? Teacher, military, anarchist, and feminist. All right. A very complete CV she's got. I still feel that the way Europeans in general design their cities, with you have the block, the flats, the apartments, flats at the top, and then you have the stores on the ground floor, is a great thing. It just makes perfect sense. And then you have a train station. Then another one, a second Simone Veil, and Alice Guy, who is she? Magistrate and a politician. And then this one, I don't know, something cool as well, I suppose. So when you think about all that, this is an interesting place. So I think, so we're closer to the port now, where you have the station and all these other things. And I would understand why this is the place that gets the most publicity, where, you know, you have young men hanging around and you're thinking, what are they doing hanging around in the middle of the day? Don't you have things to do? Anyway, but you get the idea. I think Porte de Chapelle has a reputation, but it's just not as bad.